8:23 at the Big 550 KTRS. St. Louis Post-Dispatch TV critic Gail Pennington is in Hollywood for the annual Television Critics Association get-together and joins us live from there. Thanks for getting up early to do this, Gail.
Well, this is great because it's my first day, and so I'm still on St. Louis time, so it doesn't seem that early to me.
Now, is this a tour where people who make TV shows come through and do all sorts of press interviews?
Yes. Basically, what I've arrived for is the network part. So the broadcast networks are going to come in, and they're going to bring in all their new shows and the cast and the producers, and we'll talk about them all day long, every day, and then we'll do some fun stuff, too.
Any of them you're particularly looking forward to?
ABC has a new show called Life in Pieces. It's a comedy. It has James Brolin and Diane Wiest are the parents of grown children. It's really funny. It made me laugh out loud.
Yeah, so for many of these, you've seen what, they send you DVD screeners or you watch them online?
Either or. And I've seen everything they sent me. I was good this year. I got an early start and actually watched the stuff. But things like the new Muppets that are going to be on ABC, which is going to be really funny.
Yep.
I've only seen the same 10-minute presentation that they made public because they're not finished with it yet.
Okay. So that must be the case for a lot of these shows. I mean, aren't they still producing things and getting them ready? I guess what you're seeing is essentially what they finished as their pilot back in the spring, right?
Yes, exactly. And some of them will air almost exactly as in that form, and others are going to be recast and reworked, and they will be almost unrecognizable.
So there are things that there are more original shows, perhaps? Because you know how sometimes they just kind of have shows that, oh, I've been there, done that, seen that, but there are some good original stuff?
Well, you mean like the remake of Coach or the remake of Heroes?
They're doing a remake of Coach?
Yes, for Netflix.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they're also doing a remake of Full House.
Well, yeah, I heard the Full House one.
House.
Yes.
And these are things that will almost make me cancel my Netflix subscription because I couldn't care less. Who are you looking forward to talking to? Who's a go-to guest you can't wait to ask a question of?
Well, I'm very sorry to have missed Norman Lear yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Because he apparently is something. But I did get here last night in time to see a performance by Chita Rivera that PBS put on. They're doing a great performances special on her, and they brought her in. She's 82 years old. She sang and danced for an hour. It was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
She was recently starring on Broadway in a show called The Visit, and the only thing I know about this show is that I was in it in high school.
Really?
Yeah.
That was the show that Roger Reese was in right before he died.
Oh, that's right. That's right, yeah.
What is it about?
It's about a woman who comes back to the town where she grew up, and she's now extremely, extremely wealthy. And she comes back to town, and the town is in shambles and really needs her help. And she agrees to bequeath them a large amount of money if they will kill the man who done her wrong.
Oh, and you played the man who done her wrong?
Yeah, what was your role?
I played the mayor of the town. I was not the star. It was the only acting experience I've ever had in my life. And yeah, that was it. I did one play in high school, but it was interesting. And I later saw a professional production of it, and it wasn't that good. So, of course, I'm just remembering it because I remember the people I was in it with. But maybe the show's not that good considering it just closed on Broadway again.
It closed on Broadway really fairly quickly.
Yeah. Aside from the TCA stuff this week, I wanted to ask you about Jon Stewart, who's beginning his final week on Comedy Central. He's got Amy Schumer and Dennis Leary and Louis C.K. as his final three guests, and then Friday he's doing an hour-long last show. I'm sorry, Thursday. Yeah, he's doing an hour-long last show. What's his legacy going to be?
I really can't say at this point. I think he made us look at the news media, especially, in a different way than we had. My favorite thing he did was poke fun at the ridiculousness, not just of Fox News, because of course he's very liberal, but not just at Fox News, but at CNN and at everyone.
Yep.
The reporting, the ridiculousness in the reporting.
I still remember the time he took on Jim Cramer from CNBC about how CNBC not only didn't tell us the financial crisis was coming, but was actively endorsing investments in the sort of stuff that led us to the financial crisis. And he absolutely was brutal on Jim Cramer. And Jim Cramer went on the show and tried to be the nice guy and tried to say, oh, well, we're just doing our jobs. And Stewart just ripped him a new one with video clips galore.
Well, that was another thing that The Daily Show did so well. And John can't take all the credit for that and wouldn't, because they have a huge team of putting together those clips and the evidence and building the case.
And it made stars of so many people, too.
Yeah, I want to get to the stars in just a second, but I was just on this notion of getting the clips to rebut what people have said, whether it's a guest who's sitting there or, more often, somebody in the news media, or even more often than that, some politician who says, A, I never said that, or B, this is what happened when the facts show the other way. And as you point out, Stewart and his staff were expert at finding those clips to rebut those arguments. I'm surprised that other news organizations can't do the same.
Well, maybe they don't want to work that hard.
Laziness
in media is one of the things he pointed out over and over.
Laziness?
Laziness, yeah. How they just report a plane crash. He made a lot of fun of the Malaysian airline continuing a month later coverage when there wasn't anything new, and CNN was still covering it constantly when they were ignoring important stories.
Yeah. He also would go after CNN. I saw this on the clip show they aired last night, which was hosted by three of his correspondents, kind of a retrospective. And they showed some so many times when somebody on CNN said, all right, well, we're out of time, we can't continue with that. Right in the middle of a feisty argument about something, or when somebody was going to make a really good point, they would cut him off and say, okay, I'm sorry, we're all out of time. How can you be out of time? You're on 24 hours a day. How much more time do you need?
Right.
Brilliant stuff. And as Kelly was pointing out, the people who've been on that show, I made a list of some of the people who are graduates of the Daily Show with Jon Stewart. Steve Carell, Stephen Colbert, John Oliver, Larry Wilmore, Ed Helms, Mo Rocca, Samantha Bee, Jason Jones, Louis Black, Asif Manvi, Kristen Schaal, Rob Corddry, Olivia Munn, and that's only about 20% of them. I think he's got a better record in making stars than Lorne Michaels has in the last 10 years.
I think so, too. Genuine stars, not, flash-in-the-pan stars.
Yeah. All right, so you're going to be out there all week long, and we'll get a report from you next week, and, of course, in the paper on what days?
Friday and Sunday. And right now, as of this morning, I have 10 video clips of Jon Stewart great moments up on STL today, and it includes the Jim Cramer video.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's something that people can review and just roll their eyes at. Gail Pennington, TV critic for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Have a great week out there.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
8:31 at the Big 550 KTRS.